The Joe Zelnik Story, A Man and His Dictionary. A man who has advised presidents. And world leaders. And a few dictators as well. Joe was born sometime in the 1930s in Gowanda, New York. He came from a large family of 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Gowanda is known for its quaint downtown, mild winters, and above-average children. Joe's childhood home was the talk of the town. His parents owned and operated a modest store. Early in life, Joe was drawn to the newspaper business. Joe loved his dog, Rusty. Joe bought his first car for $6,000 and headed off for college. He graduated from the University of Buffalo. Joe went to work right out of college for the Gowanda World Tribune. He got along well with his first editor, Mohammed Hearst. Joe got assigned to cover New York's Indian reservations. He fit in well with Native Americans. Duty called, and Joe enlisted in the Army. He received the Good Vocabulary Medal of Honor from a young George Herbert Walker Bush. After leaving the Army, he returned to Gowanda and went to work for the Gowanda Times-Journal. He did not get along well with his new editor, Keith Carnkite. Joe quickly became bored with small-town journalism and took up boxing as a career. After an injury, he began writing greeting cards, which did not sell very well, and he was fired. Joe was then attracted to the martial arts, but soon got tired of not wearing a shirt. Joe moved to Mexico and joined a mariachi band. In his spare time, he surfed the coast at Baja. He was discovered by a Hollywood director on the beach. Joe moved to California, where he began his career as an actor. He was a leading man and a gangster, and he played second fiddle. But comedy was his forte, and he was a great dancer. Who can forget Joe in this scene? The newspaper business called Joe again, and he was hired to follow Spider-Man. While on a picket line at a newspaper, Joe was hired by the Philadelphia Daily News. But he left journalism once again, this time to join the space program. It was short-lived. With the untimely deaths of Curly and Shemp, Joe joined the Three Stooges as Curly Joe. That's where his famous hairstyle was born. When the Stooges disbanded, Joe returned to full-length movies, starring with Steve McQueen. It earned Joe his only Oscar. He briefly joined the Rat Pack for one movie. Next, Joe embraced a rock and roll lifestyle, taking over Ringo's job while he was absent from the Beatles to have his tonsils removed. That led Joe down a path of partying and excess, which would later find him as a member of Def Leppard. In 1982, Joe came to the Herald. He described the newsroom as small. Within weeks, he had assembled a hard-nosed, investigative news team. It was at that time Joe began covering the County Board of Freeholders and other Cape May County government agencies. For unknown reasons, Joe would leave Cape May County weekends and Monday nights for another job. He made one more movie. Joe briefly accepted a job with the county zoo. While still editing the award-winning Herald, Joe was still attracted to the bright lights of showbiz. He even considered returning to the ring, but gave up that idea after a skydiving accident with Lenora Bonafonte. When Joe officially retired as editor in January, it took a crew to organize his papers. Joe set up a home office with a full-time computer expert always on hand. While Joe stirred up controversy as editor of the Herald, his retirement stirred up even more. While Joe has given up his movie career, his television appearances have been frequent. He continues to be a much-in-demand news commentator. Joe Zelnik, a man for all seasons and all faiths.